I have a manifesting tip today, and that tip is we create what we believe we can create. Now, I decided to make this a tip because it's something I have to keep reminding myself of, like all the time. I'll think about, oh, I'd really like to create this. Oh, that'd be really hard. So, like, I want this. Oh, it'd be too hard. I don't believe I can do it. But see, all the good that we can create in our lives is directly in proportion to the good we believe we can create. So we want to think about, what do we believe that we can create? Now, every time we think of something, every time there's something we desire, what we're doing is we're planting a seed in source energy, right? The field of potential. So we plant a seed in source energy, and it's this thing we desire. Now, the more that we think about it and imagine how great it would be to have in our life, and imagine, the things that would change and how we would be challenged and be presented with new opportunities, the more that we have faith and believe in this thing, the more energy we feed into it. Now, after we've fed it a certain amount of energy, we become its anchor in the physical world. So this desire that we want now has us as the physical anchor, which means we can more easily pull it into physical manifestation. So we just keep adding to that energy and keep growing it in the realm of the unseen until we become that anchor. And then it manifests in our life. Okay, so that's what happens. But it's because of our belief and the faith and the trust that we have that that's possible. Now, sometimes something we want to have in our life might look like this. Oh, I really want that. That'd be so amazing. Oh, that'd be really hard to do, though. I might have to quit my job. I don't think my spouse would like that. My kids would think I was a weirdo. And so we're like, I want it, but there are all the reasons I don't think I could have it. Now, this is called resistance. Now, resistance comes from our ego. And our ego's job, one of its jobs, is to simply keep us safe from cradle to grave. So the ego doesn't want us trying anything new. If we decide to try something new, what happens is that there's an unknown factor placed into the equation of our life. And the ego doesn't like that unknown factor. The ego doesn't like anything that's unknown because it can't be predicted then, right? The ego likes predictability. The ego likes sameness. The ego likes our comfort zone because in the comfort zone, we pretty much know what's going to go on in the comfort zone, right? There's no new adventures in the comfort zone. So the ego thinks it's doing its job by keeping you safe in your comfort zone, right? Keeping you safe. So, for instance, let's say that we want to do something big, like move to a city out of state, right? Out of the state we live in. I had an acquaintance who recently did this, moved to New Mexico, and it was huge. I thought that was amazing. So let's just pick Albuquerque, New Mexico. I don't know why. But say that you decide you want to move there, and you're thinking, that would be so amazing. That would be so wonderful. I love the culture. I love the desert. I just love everything about Albuquerque. But then you think, oh, but wow, it would be so hard to find a job there. Oh, and I'd have to move, find a new house to live in. And all my friends, I would miss all my friends, right? I wouldn't know anybody if I moved to Albuquerque. And so what happens is that pretty soon our reasons for not moving to New Mexico outweigh the reasons to move to New Mexico. And so what we're believing becomes smaller, right? Or the goodness that we're believing in becomes smaller because we're believing in lack and limitation. And remember, we're getting what we believe in. If we want to create a certain amount of goodness, we have to believe we can create that certain amount of goodness. So sometimes it can help to make a pros and cons list, all right? And so say that you want to move to New Mexico. So you make your pros list. I love the environment. I love the culture. I love the atmosphere. I love the desert. I'm excited about new opportunities. You make your cons list. I'd have to move. Moving is hard. I'd have to find a new job. I'd be all alone. I wouldn't have any friends. Okay, so now what happens is you've got your cons list. You want to change your beliefs about those things, right? So that you can be believing in more good things than in limitation. So say on the list you have, I'd be alone, right? None of my friends would be here. So what you do is you ask the universe a question, what can I do about this, right? And if you ask, you will receive an answer. See, the thing is that when we decide to do something big like this, we always have an inner resource, right? Whether it's a big thing or a little thing, there's something within us that always knows what to do and how to do it, and it will compel us on how to do that thing. So if you want to move to New Mexico, there is that inner resource that knows what to do and how to do it, and it will compel you how to do it. So you ask the question, right? If being alone in a new state is scary to you, and your ego is really going to play up that resistance, right? Because that's a good one, right? Nobody wants to be alone. So you ask, what can I do about this? Well, you're going to start getting inspired. You're going to start getting ideas. Okay, it might be that you join some meetup groups, right? There are meetup groups for everything. You could join a walking meetup group, a coffee meetup group, a reading meetup group, and connect with 100 people, in an afternoon. I think personally, if I were going to move out of state, what I would do is the city that I want to go move to, I would connect with their Center for Spiritual Living or their Unity Church and maybe plan to go there for a weekend, right? And just meet some people there. And then I would have like a couple of people I could reach out to, right? So do that. If, however, you're looking at your list and you just can't really find the reasons why it would be a great thing to do, it may actually not be something that you want to do that badly. And that happens. Sometimes things come into our life and we think we should really want them, but we really don't, right? Maybe it's somebody else's dream for us. And I mean, I've met so many people who've gone to school based on what their parents thought they should do and ended up in something that didn't really make them happy. Okay, so sometimes our desires are just for fun. Back in the early 90s, when the movie The Cutting Edge came out on video, my husband and I rented it from Blockbuster. You remember Blockbuster? Anyway, in the 24-hour period we had this video, I watched it a couple of times because I fell in love with the movie. It was about figure skaters in competing in the Olympics. Well, I really lived vicariously through these skaters, and I've seen the movie now dozens of times since then. And I love the idea of being a figure skater, right? The freedom on the ice and the grace, and they're so strong and just like a ballet dancer on ice, right? Now I live vicariously through their story, but when the movie's over, I don't really want to go learn to ice skate or put in all the effort it would take to actually be an Olympic hopeful, right? So sometimes what we want is just a flight of fancy. And it's not really something we want in our life. It's just something that's fun to think about. And that's really okay too. That's okay. We don't have to, just because we like something and it seems fun, doesn't mean we have to, bring it into our life like 180%. All right. So we might be doing something because someone else wants us to do it. So there would be that sense of obligation. And we would not be creating the amount of good we really are desiring to create if we're coming up from a sense of obligation. If it's just a fun fantasy, we're not going to create that because there's no energy behind it. And if we're feeling resistance, the resistance is going to feel uncomfortable. And so that's how we'll know that's resistance. We might have like a knot in our stomach. And if we decide to not do it, it might at first feel like a big relief. But then later will come the regret, right? Later on, we'll feel bad about it. I have decided to not do things because of resistance. See, in the spiritual community, there's this idea that if something feels a little scary, that, oh, that's the universe telling me I'm not supposed to be doing that. But see, this is the thing about our soul. Our soul seeks expression and to keep expanding in this life. Our soul likes adventure. Our soul is not happy in the comfort zone. Our soul craves new experiences. Now, using that excuse, oh, that felt uncomfortable. It felt a little scary. So I think the universe is telling me that's not the path I should be taking. Well, I'm sorry. That's like, if you don't want to do it, then just don't do it. But don't like try saying the universe doesn't want you to do it, right? The universe supports anything we decide to do, especially if it's unknown, especially if it is a little scary. If something feels a little scary to us, chances are we're on the right path. So I just want to read a little something out of the book, How to Use the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. There is but one ultimate impulsion in the universe, and this impulsion is love, which is source energy, right? The givingness of source energy. It is the pure essence of divine givingness. There is something in the universe which forever gives itself to its creation, forever offers itself, not as a sacrifice, but as an impartation of its essence into everything. So source energy is always seeking to express through you as an idea, as an inspiration, the urge to create and experience something new, right? That is source energy seeking to work through you. So source energy, your soul working through you as a physical body, you're a channel for all this abundance, you're a channel for source energy to work through. Okay, so your soul is seeking the adventure of new experiences, right? So that which is seeking to work through you, through all of us, will also guide us because it knows what to do and how to get it done, and it will compel us, right? There is a thing right now inside of you that knows what to do and how to do it, and it will compel you on how to do it. So it's okay if we don't know how to make that desire manifest, right? All that any of us have to do is keep believing that force, the force which created the universe and put the galaxies into their spin and inspires the bud to blossom and the little acorn to grow through to a mighty oak tree, that force is also at work through you, for you, as you. So you greatly desire something, keep feeding it energy, keep believing that it will happen, keep having faith, because that force that is working through you, for you, as you, again, it is the same force that put the universe into motion, right? That put the galaxies in their spin. So keep feeding that desire the energy, right? You need to give it enough energy so that you can become its physical anchor and pull it out of the realm of the unseen into the seen, right? And see, when you are feeding that, it will give you direction on all the physical instructions that you need to take so that it can manifest. Right? Something great comes into our mind as an idea and inspiration. A new adventure, it's going to sound foreign to us. We're not going to know how to do that. We're not going to have a clue, right? The steps we should take. So we just have to act on them one at a time. And by believing that we can create a vast amount of good, we feed that desire all the energy that it needs to be able to connect with us physically. So we know what to do, right? We know which physical action to take next. And there will be a lot of physical action. We have to take a lot of physical steps to make this happen. I think it was Martin Luther King Jr. who said, you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to take the first step, right? I think I might be paraphrasing that a little. But I was thinking, if we really saw the whole staircase, we'd probably be scared because there's a lot of stairs there. So we just take that physical action one step at a time. You are the force of the universe. You're the force in a universe, in a body right now. You're an infinite being in a body, here to create a vast amount of good. We create what we believe we can create. And so it is.